We're going to be chatting with my colleague, Patrick Rocca. He is a broker with Bosley Real Estate. Patrick has been in the business for over 30 years and has seen just about every kind of market. And right now, we're in the middle of something a little bit unusual. The spring market's a little hesitant, a little unpredictable, and being pulled in all directions because of, well, politics, interest rates, and so much uncertainty. Hey, Patrick, how are you?
Good morning, Deval. Very good. How are you?
Thanks for joining me this morning.
My pleasure. I was listening to you an hour ago talking about some of your real estate stories from the weekend, and I was just shaking my head. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's not pretty out there. What are you seeing out there with your clients?
Well, it's spring market in Toronto is it's as certain as death and taxes. I mean, it's always good. This year we've just got. It's uncertainty is probably the word that's been thrown around a lot. We had a provincial election. We're in the middle of a federal mess. We have the Trump factor, which is huge. We had a major snowstorm that paralyzed the city. So it was a really slow start. What I'm seeing to the spring market in my area, at least. Obviously, you're seeing it in sales. February sales were down 29%. I did a Globe interview last week, and I was talking with the person that was interviewing me, and I think March is going to be worse. But that being said, I've seen some positive signs in the past 2 weeks. I'm starting to see people come out, list. I mean, I've listed 3 or 4 properties in the last week. So I guess the question will be, will they sell? That's the thing, right?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Now, a couple of questions. You're saying you think March is going to be worse. Is that partly because of March break, the public school March break and the private school March break, so people don't really list around those time periods? Or
yes, 100%. No, 100%. You're 100% correct. The problem is that it'll get blown up, right? I mean, you have a February month that was down, and then all of a sudden, no disrespect, but the media will jump all over it because then March is going to be down.
Right.
So, and all of a sudden, that puts more uncertainty into the market, more instability, and people aren't as confident as well. So I just hope that doesn't happen.
Right. I mean, it's funny because one of our colleagues had a listing in the East End, and I think he had over 80 showings, and I think he told me he had something like 9 offers on his house. So it is interesting that it's really in pockets. Some parts of the market are still pretty active, and some parts are dead.
100%. Yeah. I mean, if you're sitting, unfortunately, I'm not. If you're sitting in that pocket where you've got the 999 to $1,049,000 listings, those things are moving. They're still very, very solid. Once you start getting into that 2.5, 3 plus. I mean, the up to 2.5 in my market, 3 is still moving if it's priced right and shows well, and if it's a traditional home. But over 3 is very soft. I mean, there are some sales, but there are more listings than not.
Yeah, I have a couple of house listings that are over $2 million, and it is painful waiting for showings to come. And yesterday we did an open house, and we had 2 people show up. It was and it was more. It's a triplex, and it's an investment property, but.
Right.
Yeah, it is kind of painful. So for your sellers right now, because you were talking about the spring market is usually pretty certain. And I think a lot of people think the spring market is simply just maybe April and May, but really the spring market for us is really anywhere from February through May. What are you advising your clients to do in terms of listings right now? Are you telling them to wait till April or May, or are you telling them to list now?
Well, I mean, April's next week, right? So
I forget that.
So I'm telling them to list right now.
Right.
I mean, and I was telling people, and I do this. This is the same every year. I mean, I'm telling people in December, because people do think April and May. You're 100% correct, but the reality is we start 3rd week of January.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 parts to that spring market. You've got late January, February, pre-March break, and then you've got after March break through till June, right? So, I mean, historically, the first part has always done, the first half of that spring market has always done better. That's where we didn't see that this year. And I could feel it in February that we were likely going to have a later start to this market. And I think that that's going to happen.
Right. And what about if there's any buyers out there, what advice would you have to buyers who are still feeling maybe they're a little bit nervous, but they don't want to miss an opportunity in the market? What's should buyers be playing it safe, or do you think they should be bold and negotiate at this point?
Well, I mean, bold is an interesting word. I mean, I think there's great opportunity for buyers right now. If you're a buyer, I mean, with rates being where they are and likely going down more, I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, if I got an offer on one of my listings yesterday that was ridiculous. I mean, there's negotiating and then there's negotiating. So but there's opportunity. I mean, so there's that chance to get that property for under asking, as opposed to being in competition with 4 or 5 other buyers. So I think it's a good time for buyers, and I can understand the nervousness and the confidence, but I think it's, you can't time the market. I mean, there's 2 things in real estate. You can't time the top, you can't time the bottom. So it's a good time, in my opinion, to get in. And if you're selling, on the other hand, I think you should be selling sooner than later. I mean, with all the instability and uncertainty with what we're dealing with, as Benjamin Tell said, the next 6 months are going to be sort of wonky. I mean, it could be worse in the fall, and I hope that's not the case. But I mean, if you're thinking of selling, I would be doing it now.
Right. It's funny. Of course, that was going to be my next question: is what's your prediction for the fall? Because I mean, the fall tends to be less. I mean, I think people get higher prices when they list in the spring than they do the fall. But what do you think is going to happen this year? Do you think that this tariff stuff, I mean, of course, there's no way of knowing, is going to finally die down so that people have some stability in the fall?
Well, it's funny because you said earlier that I've been around for over 30 years and I've seen it all, but I just don't know anymore. It's like I've said this during COVID, my crystal ball is shattered. I mean, historically, spring is best, summer is slower, fall is second best.
Right.
But we've had, if you go back to 23, 22, we had really bad falls. If you go back to last year, we had a wonky fall. We had a good start, a bit of a blip, and then we had a great finish. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. But fall historically is always our second best. That's why I always tell people to get out in the spring, because It's usually the best. Right.
Perfect. Patrick, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Deval. Have a great day. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks a lot. That was my colleague, Patrick Rocca. He is a broker with Bosley Real Estate with over 30 years experience. And even with all that experience, he felt that there was so much uncertainty in the market that no predictions could be made. So you heard it from him first.